A Course in Miracles, Questions and Answers. What does the Course say about what the world believes? Based on A Course in Miracles teachings. Meditation context. Keeping your attention on or in your body will keep you in the present moment. All guilt, regret, resentment, and anger is based on the past. All worry, anxiety, and fear is centered on some point in the future. In the present moment, none of that fear-based negativity exists. The Course in Miracles text is 1,754 pages long, and the main premise is nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Each of my meditation videos will all have from 7 to 10 A Course in Miracles quotations, and after each quotation, I will have a short meditation. Here is the first Course in Miracles quotation. Quotation. Here is the paradox that underlies the making of the world. This world is not the will of God, and so it is not real. Yet those who think it real must still believe there is another will, and one that leads to opposite effects from those he wills. Impossible indeed. A Course in Miracles. We're going to use the 4-7-8 method. The 4-7-8 breathing technique involves breathing in for 4 seconds, holding the breath for 7 seconds, and then exhaling for 8 seconds. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. For this world is the symbol of punishment, and all the laws that seem to govern it are the laws of death. Children are born into it through pain and in pain. Their growth is attended by suffering, and they learn of sorrow and separation and death. And their bodies wither and gasp and are laid in the ground and are no more. Not one of them but has thought that God is cruel. If this were the real world, God would be cruel. A Course in Miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. The circle of fear lies just below the level the body sees and seems to be the whole foundation on which the world is based. Here are all the illusions, all the twisted thoughts, all the insane attacks, the fury, the vengeance and betrayal that were made to keep the guilt in place so that the world could rise from it and keep it hidden. A Course in Miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. Antichrist becomes more powerful than Christ To those who dream the world is real, the body seems to be more solid and more stable than the mind, and love becomes a dream while fear remains the one reality that can be seen and justified and fully understood. A Course in Miracles. In-breath. Hold. Out-breath. Quotation. From the world of bodies made by insanity, insane messages seem to be returned to the mind that made it, and these messages bear witness to this world, pronouncing it as true. For you sent forth these messengers to bring this back to you. A Course in Miracles. In-breath. Hold. Out-breath. Quotation. The world you see is the delusional system of those made mad by guilt. For this world is the symbol of punishment, and all the laws that seem to govern it are the laws of death. If this were the real world, God would be cruel, for no father could subject his children to this as the price of salvation and be loving. Love does not kill to save. If it did, attack would be salvation, and this is the ego's interpretation, not God's. A Course in Miracles. In-breath. Hold. Out-breath. Quotation. Take not the judgment of the world as answer to the question, what am I? The world believes in sin. Seek not to make the Son of God adjust to his insanity. Ask, how shall I look upon the Son of God? A Course in Miracles. In-breath. Hold. Out-breath. Quotation. It must be so that either God is mad or this world a place of madness. Not one thought of his makes any sense at all within this world, and nothing that the world believes as true has any meaning in his mind at all. What makes no sense and has no meaning is insanity, and what is madness cannot be the truth. A Course in Miracles. In-breath. Hold. Out-breath. Quotation. Nothing the world believes is true. It is a place whose purpose is to be a home where those who claim they do not know themselves can come to question what it is they are, and they will come again until the time atonement is accepted. A Course in Miracles. In-breath. Hold. breath. The question posed in this video given at the beginning of this meditation was, what does the Course say about what the world believes? And the text that I highlighted in green says, this world is not the will of God, and so it is not real. This first quotation obviously is stating that this world is not real because it is not the will of God. It appears that this world of judgment, guilt, attack, and fear is the ego's world. Again, the question posed in this video given at the beginning of this meditation was, what does the Course say about what the world believes? And the text that I highlighted in green says, for this world is the symbol of punishment, and all the laws that seem to govern it are the laws of death. If this were the real world, God would be cruel. And this quotation again seems to say that this is not the real world, as if it were, God would be cruel for creating this type of a world. This quotation also implies that the laws that govern this world are the laws of death, and that this world is the symbol of punishment. Again, the question posed in this video given at the beginning of this meditation was, what does the Course say about what the world believes? And the text that I highlighted in green says, Antichrist becomes more powerful than Christ to those who dream the world is real. The body seems to be more solid and more stable than the mind. This quotation that I have here is implying that in this world, the body appears to be more solid and stable than the mind is. Keep in mind that the Course says that minds are joined, not bodies, and that the body is just a temporary learning tool. This quotation also states that to those who dream this world is real, the Antichrist is perceived as being more powerful than Christ. That appears to imply that many are stuck in dreaming and in believing in illusions. Again, the question posed in this video given at the beginning of this meditation was, what does the Course say about what the world believes? And the text that I highlighted in green says, from the world of bodies made by insanity, insane messages seem to be returned to the mind that made it, and these messages bear witness to this world. The quotation presented here appears to be saying that this is a world of bodies produced by insanity. It also says that messages of insanity seem to be returned to the mind that made the body. It concludes by saying that what we witness in this world is a result of the messages given to the mind. And again, the question posed in this video given at the beginning of this meditation was, what does the Course say about what the world believes? And the text that I highlighted in green says, the world you see is the delusional system of those made mad by guilt. No father could subject his children to this as the price of salvation and be loving. This is the ego's interpretation, not God's. This quotation is saying that no father could subject his children to the world we see as the price required for salvation and be considered loving. It also seems to be saying that Our interpretation of this world is the ego's interpretation, not God's. This quotation also says that our world is based on a delusional system created by those made mad by guilt. Again, the question posed at the beginning of this meditation in this video was, what does the Course say about what the world believes? And the text that I highlighted in green says, it must be so that either God is mad, or is this world a place of madness? Nothing that the world believes as true has any meaning in his mind at all. What makes no sense and has no meaning is insanity. This quotation gives two possibilities, that either God is insane or this is a world of insanity. It then goes on to say that nothing that this world believes as being true has any meaning in the mind of God at all. The quotation then goes on to say that what has no meaning and what makes no sense is insanity. Again, the question posed at the beginning of this meditation in this video was, what does the Course say about what the world believes? And the text that I highlighted in green says, nothing the world believes is true. This short quotation answers the question regarding what the world believes by saying that nothing that the world believes is true. Space Eternity Meditation. We're going to take an imaginary trip with your consciousness, and during this imaginary trip, we'll leave your body behind. To begin, see yourself standing in a large grass field. You've been given the ability to travel into space and to go anywhere you like. You don't have to worry about oxygen, collisions, or anything else, because only your consciousness will be traveling into space. You now have the intention and decide to go straight up into the sky. You are now flying up into the clouds. You then decide to pause and take a look around. You look down and see cities, streets, towns, and hills. Now you have the intention and decide to continue flying straight up. You are now in outer space, and it's mostly darkness with lights from stars and distant planets. You then slow down, pause to a standstill, and take a look around. At this point, you decide to go straight ahead in a horizontal direction. Meteors, planets, and other phenomena are racing by you. You then slow down, pause to a standstill, and take a look around. You again decide to continue in the same direction. You continue, and you have now traveled a significant distance while moving extremely fast. You then think to yourself, when will I reach the end of this universe or of this solar system? How will I know when I've gone as far as I can possibly go? You then realize that either there is an upcoming wall of some sort, or space just continues on. And you think to yourself, if there is some sort of a wall ahead of me, what about straight above me? Is there some sort of a wall there too? And what about straight below me and behind me? Is this universe or solar system contained in some sort of a box? Is outer space confined by a box with walls? And if so, what is behind the walls of this box. You think to yourself, if outer space is confined by a box and I go through one of the walls of the box into outer space again, then when does that space end? Is there another box enclosing the box that I just exited from? You then realize that the only thing that makes sense is that there are no walls or boxes in outer space, that space just keeps on going endlessly for an infinite distance. You realize that infinity is the only thing that makes sense when it comes to outer space. Okay, we're going to do a timelessness meditation. And again, take long, slow, deep breaths, but very relaxed. Don't make an effort of it. Okay, we're going to take a look at time now. To begin, see yourself standing on a long, almost endless sandy beach. You hear a loud, gentle, kind voice, and it says, each grain of sand on this beach is equal to a 100-year lifetime. And there are millions of beaches just like this one, with trillions of grains of sand on each one. How many lifetimes do you think you have? You have an infinite number of lifetimes for all of eternity. As you breathe in, see your consciousness diving down into a grain of sand. As you dive down into it, you see that everything is large, and you see that it resembles planet Earth. There are oceans and mountains and vegetations within this grain of sand that you just took a dive into. You keep diving down into the single grain of sand and feel as though you've been there before. It starts to look very familiar. You then realize that you will be starting a new life there, an entire new lifetime from birth to death. And you remember what you were told, that each grain of sand is equivalent to one lifetime, and that there are millions of beaches with trillions of grains of sand on each beach. You begin to sense what timelessness is. You begin to understand how time can just keep going on and continue endlessly, just like outer space. You realize that you are not the body that you see, that you instead are the spirit that surrounds the body. You remember that you've been told that you are energy, and that energy cannot be created or destroyed. You realize that you are an infinite being living in a timeless universe with no end. The body is just a costume.